Hi, I'm Scott Russell. There's been a lot of feedback on my videos on Bitcoin and things like that, and people are asking about where should we go, and I, and everyone seems to think Bitcoin, it's not a CBDC, and I understand that. We all understand that, and it's not my purpose in raising some of the concerns that I have, and so I want to zoom out a little bit and try to have all of us look from another perspective. We're also programmed to think one way, so programmed to think that the system is our answer and the system is going to take care of us. And the system is betraying us. It has betrayed us. It's just becoming evident that it's betrayed us. And we've allowed that because we've given our power, our essence over to the system. so that we can live the lives that we've wanted to live, that are normal, that are uninterrupted. And what's happening here is that as the veil is being torn back, and we're starting to see that, well, we've actually had to pay a price for what we thought was freedom, and it's not true freedom. And I've tried to share about freedom in many ways, and you can't really talk, and that's why I relate romance to freedom, because if you've had a romance, you can tell me all about it, we can laugh, we can cry, we can criticize, we can whatever, but I can never have your romance and you can never have mine, because you got to get it yourself. And many of you have tried to talk to people about freedom, and it's just, they laugh, they cry, and they think that that's fine, but they don't get it for themselves. They don't really get the essence of what you're saying, the romance of what you're saying. That's my issue. One of the things why I'm not involved in organized religion, because it's the same thing. It's turning up, 10 o'clock Sunday morning for somebody to teach me or talk to me about their romance with God. And you can sit and take notes, and you can be, that's fantastic, that's lovely, that's awesome, but don't get it yourself. And of course we say, well, if you do what I've done and be like me, you'll get the romance. How offensive is that? I have a romantic God that is wooing us through our heart. He's touching us through life, through the trees, through the air that we breathe, through everything that's around us. That's not God, but it's his expression of love towards us. And when we take the time to walk on a beach and to breathe deeply and to just enjoy the day, that's I believe, the spiritual romance of a God saying, won't you come and be with me? So I think many of us have been in a system that has corrupted us, and we've allowed it to corrupt us, because we've thought that was love. I have a love for the system. But now we're starting to learn that what we've been in love with has betrayed us. And it's an adulterous system that will always go to another lover. It will always go to someone else that will give it better. If someone will give us a bit more money, a bit more, it's like a harlot. If she'll get paid a little more, it'll go over here. And the system has no love, no affection, or no care for you and I or who we are. So all these things that we're looking to for another system, Bitcoin, gold, silver, whatever it is that you're running to, it's not your final answer. But when you live in romance, in the romance of God, in the romance of life, you just find the flow. It's there. It's romance is a flow. It's not something that you structure and control and order. If you are, then you've lost it. Romance is sitting on a top of a mountain with the love of your life, or someone that you're just so taken in by. You're looking at the sunset, and before you know it, you're looking at the dawn. And you'll do it all again, and you don't care about your job, and you don't care about your responsibilities, because romance has got you. But today, people mistaken sex for romance. Where you've prostituted your soul. You've prostituted the very core of who you are, thinking and that is something that's going to get you pleasure, but you've never met the essence of life, which comes from your Creator. And I think in our provision and in preparing for what's ahead here, it's in flexibility of divine romance and how that works out in each and every one of us is uniquely different. But it's looking and saying there is no final solution, no final answer that's going to take care of me. Because if I'm going to follow that mainstream, they are going to put a digital ID out and everything is going to have to come underneath that digital ID. And you tell me what your answer is, and I can guarantee you, I can find how that will have a hole in it and won't work. Go and live out on a farm. I've talked about that. But you go and live out on a farm, ultimately, it'll buy you a bit of time. That they're coming for you. And, how are you going to pay your taxes on the land if you don't have a digital ID? How are you going to come and visit when, someone in your family's dying, or, your children want to find their partners in life, and you're stuck out on the land somewhere living in a cave? It's not realistic. And people are not being realistic in what they want. They have these romantic notions of how they think things are going to happen. And the danger of that is you fall in love with another system. And that system could be growing potatoes in the ground. You fall in love with that system of potatoes are my answer. Potatoes are going to let you down. But when you see a romantic flow of divineness, the spirit of freedom, and like I've said, you can't talk to people about freedom and have them get it. I spoke to a man recently on one of my flights about freedom, and and about what we were seeing in the freedom movement. He did not want to see it. And I said to him, I actually flat out said to him, no, none so blind as those who refuse to see, and none so deaf as those who refuse to hear. He agreed, and I said, that's you. He agreed. Shame. In fact, whatever, we'll leave him out of it. But my point being is you can't force romance on somebody. You can't get them to get it. And if you have freedom moving in your life, if you have a freedom that's sparked in you and you're seeing it and others don't get it, it's because God's reaching to you and saying, I have an answer. I am your answer. Let's walk this together. Now, as we've all done in our system thinking, we try to control it. Well, I need to understand this God. I need to understand, is he a good decision to live with this man? Like I've said, these Sadia Khans and that are on the internet telling you about your relationships. They have some good advice, which hooks people. But their underlying message is death. It's like having a punch list. I've been on that with some ladies. They'll have, 2 or 3 guys that they're looking at and they're saying, okay, who's the better option? And the one who's got the most money, who's going to be this, who's going to be that? And they're making a business decision for romance. They are soulless creations, soulless women, soulless men that are doing that. Men and women that have sold their soul to a system. Men and women that have prostituted their own soul. They don't know who they are. They don't know what love is. They've never had love. And because they don't care to be vulnerable. If you're going to have love, you've got to be vulnerable. You've got to trust. You've got to trust your God. You've got to trust. And if you can't trust your God, you've got the wrong God. For me, it was Jesus. As he came into my life and I surrendered my pain and my good and my bad and my ugly and everything to him, I could feel the movement of peace. And I follow the peace. I don't follow Bitcoin. I don't follow a farm. I don't follow solutions. Some of those things, it's good to have. You can have a little bit of everything, really. But that's not my answer. It's like saying in a relationship, sex will be my answer. No, it won't. Men would have that every minute of every day. Women would have it every once a year if they're lucky, if that's that type of woman. But when there's romance there, it's a flow. It's a flow. And I think that's what your provision and my provision will be for those that hear this and resonate with this message, where they start to say, I'm going to be creative in my mindset, creative in my spirit, and let that creative flow take me to where I need to go and do what I need to do. Yep, that means you've got to know who you are, because you're going to do things that others won't understand. You're going to be in places that others don't understand. That's why I keep saying, too many of us are in the wrong places with the wrong people doing all the wrong things. Time to start making changes. And let that romantic flow of heaven be who you are. And it'll bring you to true romance with others that are like heart, like spirit in all your relationships, including the community of people that are going to help take care of you as this thing unfolds. God bless.